This is how a noob juggles guns in Valorant, and this is how a pro does it. Notice how much easier it is for the pro player to do it? By just changing a few settings, the pro player is able to instantly reduce room for error in their gameplay and make each task incredibly simple. There are countless settings like this that you could change to instantly increase your win rate and get you climbing. And today we're going to be breaking down all of those settings and exactly why you need to be swapping them. By double binding your equip primary button to your drop weapon key, it'll make it so you can easily just spam G to juggle guns, making it nearly impossible to mess up. Keep in mind this will also juggle your pistol, so you may have to pick it up afterwards, but you shouldn't be juggling during combat anyway, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Here are some more keybinds. Consider rebinding your crouch key to caps lock. Why? It's all about accessibility. By placing the crouch action on caps lock, you avoid the need to move your hand to reach control. This seemingly small change can significantly improve your gameplay. It makes crouching much more accessible for a majority of players, allowing you to duck during gunfights much more easily. Load into game and give it a test. You'll see the difference immediately. Crouching will become an effortless part of your combat flow rather than needing to stretch your finger. Trust us, your pinky will thank you. Many of our keybind tips are going to follow a similar premise. You want to have to move your hands off your movement keys as little as possible. Consider rebinding keys for actions like Jet's Dash or Rain is Dismissed to a mouse button for this reason. It's all about urgency and keeping control of your movements. When an ability is bound to E, you need to take your finger off of the WASD keys to use it. By shifting these abilities to a mouse button, you ensure that you can trigger these vital actions while maintaining full movement control. In high pressure situations, every second counts. Having Jet's Dash or Rain is Dismissed on a mouse button means that you can evade danger without missing a beat. Another change to consider is your push to talk key. If you're still using V to communicate in the heat of battle, you might find your hands getting quite the workout. Remember, the objective is to minimize movement interference. Many players have the tendency to not make important callouts during the heat of battle, but actually that's the most important time to make callouts. Those are the moments when you need help, and if you can't call for it, you're going to end up dying. By setting your push to talk key to a mouse button or spacebar, you can easily communicate with your teammates while keeping your fingers on the WASD keys much more comfortably. It's all about maintaining control, ensuring that you can move, shoot, and strategize all at the same time. I know change can feel strange at first, but give it a try and you might find your callouts becoming smoother and your movements unhindered. But you may be thinking, King, if I rebind space, how will I jump? Well, finally, the default jump keybind for most players is actually space. However, there's a little trick that top tier players use to gain an edge in mobility. Have you ever heard about binding your jump key to scroll wheel? Yes, it might seem unusual at first, but here's why it's useful. Bunny hopping or quickly ascending a staircase silently can be easier and smoother with the scroll wheel. Now, although bunny hopping doesn't actually make you faster in game, it can be a really useful tool to scale up elevation. Remember, this doesn't necessarily mean that you need to abandon space as your jump key. You can always double bind it. That being said, like we mentioned, I know a lot of players use space as their push to talk key and then just use scroll wheel to jump. This will make for a much more natural movement for them to use push to talk so they don't have to reach up for V, while they still have the capability to jump with scroll wheel anyway. Next, let's turn our attention to the unsung hero of Valorant, your Minimap. This small feature carries a lot of crucial information, yet it is oftentimes overlooked, especially in lower ranks. This right here is a common oversight. Notice how parts of your map are cut off? Your minimap should provide a complete view of the battlefield. You need to see what's happening everywhere, not just around your current position. This is where tweaking a few settings can make all of the difference. Firstly, turn off the keep player centered option. With this on, you're literally missing out on valuable info. It crops your minimap to keep you in the center, limiting your awareness. Next, increase your minimap size to 1.2 and set your minimap zoom to 1. It might feel a bit large at first, but it ensures that you can quickly glance at your map and extract crucial information. And don't forget to switch on minimap vision cones, because this helps you understand what your teammates can and can't see. It shows you when your teammates are blocked by smokes or peeking certain angles. Lastly, whether you want your map to rotate or stay fixed is up to you. A fixed map can be a little bit less distracting, while a rotating map can assist you with accurately spamming enemies based on your teammates' locations. Remember to combine these setting swaps with your insane mechanics, and you will be skyrocketing in rank in no time. And if you don't have insane mechanics yet, don't worry, we can help you with that too. Over at SkillCapped, we recently developed an hour-long masterclass where we break down exactly everything a player needs to know to develop immortal level aim in Valorant. Pairing this with a free VOD review in our Discord that is available for all site subscribers, and we'll get you climbing in no time. All of this is backed by a rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't improve, you don't pay. We do this because we genuinely want to see you improve. So head on over to SkillCapped and check it out. Make sure to swap all your settings first though, as they will set you up for success. Next, let's move on to sensitivity and crosshair settings. First up, sensitivity. You generally want your effective DPI or EDPI to fall between somewhere of 200 to 500. To calculate your EDPI, multiply your mouse's DPI by your in-game sensitivity. This range aligns with what most pro players use. Sure, changing what feels comfortable can be tough, but trust us, it will vastly improve your aim in-game. Remember, if almost no pro players operate with a sensitivity outside of this range, it's probably a good sign that it's a bad idea to use anything different. Moving on to crosshairs, this setting isn't as crucial as sensitivity, but it can still make a big difference. You'll want your inner lines to be static so that they're not moving when you fire. Many players turn off outer lines, and you would be hard pressed to find a pro player with a dynamic crosshair or one that moves when they fire. Firing error and movement error settings can be useful if you're starting out, helping you understand how your actions affect accuracy. But for experienced players, these dynamic elements can be a bit more distracting than they are helpful. If you're looking for a solid crosshair setup, try this. Inner lines opacity 1, inner lines length 4, inner lines thickness 2, inner lines offset 2. Movement error off and firing error off. This configuration is simple, clean, and used by some of the best players in the game. It's time to delve into audio settings. These can drastically affect your in-game awareness and communication. First up, enable HRTF. This feature will enhance your directional audio, making it easier to pinpoint players' movements around you. It might seem a bit strange initially, but give it a few games and we promise it'll feel like a major upgrade. And yes, we can't believe that we have to mention this, but turn your volume up. If your in-game sound isn't loud enough, you are missing out on vital information. It's shocking how many high-ranked players can be caught off guard simply because they didn't hear somebody approaching. Do you play with music in your background? If it's making you miss in-game cues, you might want to reconsider this habit. Now let's look over at the voiceover section of audio settings. We highly recommend turning on tactical callouts and the announcer. While some players turn these off, considering them a distraction, they can actually be incredibly helpful for understanding the state of the game. The announcer provides key game updates like when the spike is dropped or when you're the last one standing. This way you can get critical updates without having to take your eyes off of the action. The tactical callouts are useful because they alert you when your teammates use pings, improving overall team coordination. The main theme of these settings though, amplifying your awareness. The more you can hear, the more you can react. And in a game like Valorant, those sound cues can be the difference between a win and a loss. Now let's talk about video settings. Many players fuss over graphics quality, but in truth it has a minimal effect on frames. Choose what you find least distracting. What truly matters is your latency, or the time delay from your actions to the response in the game. To ensure minimum latency, switch your game to full screen mode, and if it's available in your general video settings, enable NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency to on plus boost. This feature can cut latency by up to a staggering 33% in extreme cases, making your Valorant experience much smoother. Next, you need to navigate to the Limit FPS Always option in the general settings. You'll want to set this to off. Why, you ask? Well, if the setting is turned on, it will cap your frames per second, or your FPS, which can mean lower FPS while playing. In a first-person shooter like Valorant, maximizing your FPS is the key to smooth gameplay and better reaction time. Remember, these settings are not set in stone. Everyone's hardware and personal preferences are different. Experiment with them until you find the balance that works best for you. Let's wrap some things up with more general settings though. First-person handedness is often debated among players. It's believed by many to be connected to eye dominance. Curious about your eye dominance? Try this. With both eyes open, place your thumb over a doorknob in the distance. Then, close one eye at a time. The eye that keeps your thumb on the object is your dominant eye. If you're right eye dominant, it's suggested that you use left-handed mode. While the test is often used by archers or riflers, we're not entirely convinced it has significant impact in a screen-based game like Valorant. Still, it's worth trying both sides to see what feels most comfortable for you. For those who are often playing on high ping, consider experimenting with the network buffering setting. Turning this setting to maximum can smooth out gameplay at the cost of added latency. Did you know that you could change your enemy's highlight color in general settings? It's almost like traffic lights. Red, which is easily seen from afar, could be your choice if spotting enemies is tough. Yellow, a color that our brain processes swiftly, is used for caution in traffic lights. This could be your pick for quick identification, or choose purple to stand out against Valorant's background. Currently, I use yellow highlights and find them very effective, but if you have any form of color blindness, pick which one suits you best. Finally, we recommend to always have show bullet tracers enabled. It's a great way to improve your spray control in intense fights. Remember though, the best set are the ones that work for you. Don't be afraid to experiment until you find your ideal setup. And if you're really looking to improve at Valorant, the best way to do so, of course, is going to be SkillCapped. We recently updated our site and users have been super satisfied with our constant stream of new courses covering all different things in the game. We just posted an updated course for mastering the new bind, as well as a brand new Gecko course to really dominate the competition with this incredibly fun agent. Once you've finished mastering your mechanics with our Aim God lessons, you'll have a large catalog of ways to refine your gameplay and get you climbing in no time. Don't forget to check out our Discord for free VOD review as well. You'll get paired with a top level player who will work hard with you to discover your issues and get you on your road to Radiant. And if you think all of this is BS, we've got a rank improvement guarantee, so you'll get your money back if it doesn't work out. Check it out using the link in the description below, and we'll see you there.